Happiness is one of the most sought-after states of being, yet so many people across the world continue to live with a deep sense of dissatisfaction, emptiness, and unhappiness despite advancements in technology, medicine, and comfort that previous generations could have only dreamed of. At the root of this paradox is the fact that happiness is not merely tied to physical well-being or external possessions, but rather to the inner state of the mind, the perception of life, and the alignment between one's values, actions, and environment. Many people are not happy because modern society has created a culture of comparison, where worth is constantly measured against others instead of being cultivated from within. Social media, for instance, has amplified this dynamic, showing highlight reels of other people's lives that make individuals feel inadequate, behind, or unworthy, even when they themselves might already have enough to live comfortably. This leads to a never-ending cycle of chasing validation, approval, and material possessions in an attempt to fill the void, only to discover that external rewards rarely satisfy internal hunger. Beyond comparison, another reason so many people are not happy is the growing disconnect between human beings and meaningful relationships. In the rush of modern life, careers, responsibilities, and digital distractions often take precedence over genuine human connection, leaving people surrounded by crowds yet profoundly lonely. Loneliness is not simply the absence of company, but the absence of feeling truly understood, supported, and valued by others, and this silent epidemic is one of the leading contributors to unhappiness. Furthermore, unhappiness is fueled by unfulfilled potential. People often find themselves in jobs, lifestyles, or routines that do not align with their passions or purpose, but they remain trapped out of fear, financial obligation, or societal expectations. Living day after day without feeling a sense of purpose erodes the spirit and turns life into mere survival instead of fulfillment. On top of this, the pressure of perfection imposed by society convinces people that they must always achieve more, own more, and become more, which leaves them perpetually dissatisfied and unable to enjoy the present moment. The truth is that much of human unhappiness stems from internal conflicts, wanting one thing yet doing another, desiring peace but filling life with chaos, craving love but withholding vulnerability, yearning for growth but fearing change. Modern life has given people convenience, but it has also stripped away stillness, reflection, and connection with the self. Many are unhappy, not because life has denied them opportunity, but because they have been conditioned to look for happiness in all the wrong places, chasing shadows instead of turning inward to cultivate joy from authenticity, purpose, and gratitude. Another major reason why so many people are not happy is the endless pursuit of external success as the ultimate measure of self. From the time we are young, society teaches us that happiness is tied to achievements, getting good grades, graduating from the right schools, landing the best jobs, making more money, and climbing higher ladders of recognition. While achievements can bring satisfaction, they often do not bring lasting happiness. Because the human brain adapts quickly to rewards, a phenomenon known as the hedonic treadmill, what once felt like a triumph quickly becomes normal, and the person finds themselves setting higher goals, chasing bigger milestones, and postponing joy for a future moment that never truly arrives. This endless striving creates a cycle of temporary highs, followed by inevitable emptiness, as people realize that no external marker can permanently fill the deeper human need for meaning. Adding to this, the world today is saturated with consumer culture, where ad and media constantly bombard people with the message that happiness can be bought through cars, clothes, vacations, or status symbols. Yet once these items are acquired, the excitement fades, leaving people disillusioned and trapped in the cycle of wanting more. This materialistic chase also leaves little space for gratitude, since the focus is always on what is missing rather than what is present. Another factor driving unhappiness is the struggle with identity and self-acceptance. Many people live their entire lives trying to fit into molds created by family, society, or cultural expectations, suppressing who they really are in order to gain approval or avoid rejection. This disconnect between the authentic self and the projected self creates deep internal conflict, which manifests as anxiety, stress, or depression. Instead of embracing uniqueness, people learn to wear masks, and the weight of those masks eventually becomes unbearable. Beyond this, the pace of modern life itself robs people of happiness, with constant deadlines, 24/7 connectivity, and the glorification of busyness. Life has become a race rather than a journey. Few people take the time to pause, breathe, and reflect on whether the path they are running on is even leading them to where they truly want to go. The lack of mindfulness means that people are often living in the past with regret or in the future with worry, rarely inhabiting the present moment where happiness actually exists. Moreover, physical and mental health struggles also play a profound role. Poor diets, lack of exercise, and neglect of mental well-being leave people drained, anxious, and unhappy. Yet these issues are often ignored because of stigma or because people are too overwhelmed to make necessary changes. The cumulative effect of all these factors is that many people live disconnected from themselves, from others, and from the simple joys of life, and until they address the roots of these disconnections, happiness remains elusive, no matter how much they achieve. Another subtle but powerful reason so many people are not happy lies in the expectations they carry, both from within themselves and from the world around them. Expectations can be uplifting when they motivate growth, but they can also become chains when they are unrealistic or rooted in comparison. Many people set standards of happiness that are nearly impossible to reach, believing they can only feel fulfilled once they have the perfect career, the perfect partner, the perfect house, or the perfect body. These unattainable ideals ensure that happiness always feels like it is just out of reach, dangling on a string they can never quite grasp. Social structures reinforce this trap by presenting narrow definitions of success, and anyone who does not fit neatly into those definitions feels inadequate or left behind. For example, someone who chooses a simple life filled with creativity and peace might be seen as a failure by a culture that prioritizes wealth and power, even though they may be more aligned with their true self than those racing through corporate ladders. This external pressure distorts people's perception of happiness and pushes them to chase lives that are not their own, alongside expectations. Another reason for widespread unhappiness is the lack of resilience in dealing with failure and hardship. Life is inevitably filled with setbacks, losses, and disappointments. Yet many people are not taught how to process these experiences in a healthy way. Instead, they view challenges as personal flaws or as proof that they are not good enough, which deepens despair. Happiness is not the absence of problems but the ability to face them with perspective and strength. However, when resilience is weak, even small obstacles can feel overwhelming, and joy becomes impossible to sustain. This is compounded by the increasing isolation of individuals in a society that prizes independence over community. While independence has its benefits, humans are inherently social beings, and without strong support systems, struggles feel heavier, burdens harder to bear, and happiness more difficult to maintain. Mental health issues further magnify these struggles, as depression, anxiety, and chronic stress affect millions worldwide. Yet stigma, lack of awareness, and limited access to care prevent many from seeking help. Thus, people continue to carry invisible battles inside them while presenting smiles on the outside, further fueling the illusion that everyone else is happy while they are not. Adding to this internal conflict is the way technology has rewired human attention. Constant notifications, endless scrolling, and digital overstimulation leave minds restless and distracted, eroding the ability to focus deeply on meaningful experiences. People become accustomed to quick dopamine hits, likes, clicks, and views, while losing the capacity for sustained joy that comes from patience, creativity, and connection. The irony is that in a world more connected than ever, many feel more alone than ever, drowning in shallow interactions and starving for genuine bonds. All of these elements create an environment where happiness becomes fragile, fleeting, and conditional, when in truth it is something that should be grounded, resilient, and available in the present moment. A deeper reason why so many people are not happy is the absence of purpose in their lives, because happiness is not only about pleasure or comfort, but also about meaning. And without meaning, even the most luxurious life can feel empty. Modern society, in its quest for efficiency and profit, often reduces people to roles and tasks that have little to do with their inner passions or values, and as a result, millions wake up each day to work they do not love, in environments that drain them, simply to earn enough to survive. This mechanical way of living creates a disconnect between the soul and the routine, and when people spend years suppressing their creative urges, passions, and dreams, they begin to feel as though life is passing them by without any real fulfillment. Some people distract themselves from this emptiness with entertainment, consumption, or busyness, but deep inside they still feel the gnawing question: What is the point of all this? Happiness becomes elusive when people are unable to answer that question in a way that satisfies their hearts. Furthermore, many inherit beliefs about success that are not their own. They chase careers because their families expect it, they pursue wealth because culture demands it, or they mold their identities to fit social approval, never pausing to ask themselves what truly resonates with their inner being. This lack of self-discovery means they are climbing ladders, leaning against the wrong walls, and even if they reach the top, the view is not fulfilling. Unhappiness is also reinforced by a lack of balance in how people live. Many invest all their time into work and achievement while neglecting their physical health, their relationships, their hobbies, and their spiritual or emotional growth. When life becomes one-dimensional, the other dimensions wither, and a sense of wholeness is lost. Happiness, by contrast, thrives when a person lives in alignment with multiple parts of themselves: body, mind, heart, and spirit. Another subtle force behind unhappiness is unresolved pain and trauma. For many people carry scars from childhood, past relationships, or failures that they have never healed. And these wounds shape how they see themselves and how they interact with the world. Instead of addressing these pains, they bury them, only to find that buried pain resurfaces in cycles of insecurity, anger, fear, or self-sabotage, blocking the path to joy. Without healing, even good circumstances cannot bring happiness, because the mind continues to project suffering into the present. Finally, many are not happy because they misunderstand happiness itself. They believe it is a destination to be reached once everything in life is perfect, rather than a state of being that can be cultivated even amid imperfection. Waiting for external conditions to align perfectly before allowing oneself to be happy is like waiting for the sea to stop making waves before learning how to swim. It will never happen. Happiness is found not by eliminating all problems, but by developing the perspective, gratitude, and presence to embrace life as it is. Yet until more people realize this truth, they remain stuck chasing illusions, feeling unfulfilled even when they appear to have everything, and wondering why joy always seems just out of reach.